learned to an election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in November 13th, 2020, and the stock market will crash by the end of the year if this happens. I got a good theory for you. I want to talk about it. It's stuff we saw today. Today was the record amount of cases, both cases and deaths for the virus. We're coming off the vaccine news, all of this election drama. It's putting the market in an interesting place. We had that big gap up a few days ago. We're holding up at this spot. It's kind of dropped, but not there. We hit a critical point. A lot of moves have been happening post and pre-market. Believe it or not, we're almost halfway through November, so there's a lot of stuff, and I really have a signal here that relates to today. We saw a lot of different things happen despite the market looking like it didn't do much. It was a decent size move, and you were red all across the board, but we did see some green in tech early on, but then everything kind of faded away. So we have a lot to talk about. I got the plays, I got the keys, the plays that we made today, which was none, but what we're looking at for tomorrow and some of the other plays that we're holding. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comment. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, if you want to learn about export-oriented and import-oriented producers and economics and macro and everything, then we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, I'm not going to make you wait. I'm going to give it to you. Today was all about the lockdowns and stimulus. The thing that I'm looking for by the end of the year that could affect the market negatively, it is going to be the airlines. I think if those start to go, that is going to be the key. And why do I say that now? Because today we started to see more news about the lockdowns, and then you also saw more news about the stimulus, and then we also have the case numbers. So this is where it's important, and this is what I talked about the other day when monitoring the market and monitoring how this is going to happen. I believe there is going to be a delay. So I think you're going to see things move in different areas, and depending on how it plays out, that will kind of tell us. So if the airlines do not get clapped and do not go down in the next few weeks, few days, whatever happens, depending on how this stuff plays out, then I think the market will remain stable towards the end of the year. But depending on how these two factors, which are separate from the election, lockdowns and stimulus, depending on how that plays out, I think the airlines is going to be our indicator. So I will tie this into some of the other stuff, but I don't want to make you wait. I'm giving it to you right now. That is the main thing. That's the main point of even with this video. I'm viewing this as kind of a canary in the coal mine. So now tying that to even what happened today. Today was a very interesting day. Again, tech and everything was all over the place. You really didn't get too big of a pre-market move, but then things stayed within a range and then it started slipping. So we saw a series of different news as far as stimulus. I think it was early on in the day you heard that the Trump team was backing out for it. I think McConnell says he doesn't even want, or a different Republican senator says he doesn't want Munchkin negotiating it anymore, so that's negative. But the real movements that really started to kick things off, it was New York again. We heard from de Blasio. It started to get confirmed that they're going to be closing the New York schools and lockdowns. And then there was Chicago. It was the Chicago mayor. She had a live conference, and they were saying about putting a stay-at-home order. Then they said it was just for Thanksgiving. They wanted to cancel Thanksgiving. And then there was a few other places. Again, we talked about it, but the idea is watching as the lockdown news comes out, and you're seeing how it's affecting the market, but it's keeping us in a range and it's keeping us where the highs are. So this is what I'm saying between the delay. I think as you start to get more and more lockdowns, we'll see how the market is affected. And even the first time, I think if the market is really going to panic off of any lockdown, it would be a nationwide lockdown. So that's why it's interesting to tie this into the airlines, because I think that's going to give you a better idea of how the market is really viewing things. Because if there's a nationwide lockdown, place by place will hurt the airlines a little bit. That may hurt the market, but a nationwide lockdown would again devastate the airlines again. And I think that would even just tell you something consumer wise. But those were the main two things today. We saw it throughout the day, where I'm sure we are going to be monitoring it. Right now, again, today was a record amount of deaths all across the world. However, it is not a record amount in the US. We will see how that plays out here in the next few days. And that's what people are going to be looking at too. And I think Wall Street is kind of aware of it, but it is waiting for a little bit more. So we are going to see, and I think all those other factors can tell us a little bit more about what's going on. So that was the main thing today. Again, kind of even bringing it back to this thesis, and I talked about it today. There's a weird BA correlation, Boeing, and how it was rotating, but even tying this into that airline thing, again, you could kind of see how the markets are, but just imagine if the airlines were all back up to where they are. And again, I'm just using this as a canary in the coal mine because they really had a big move off of that rotation stuff in the vaccine, but they're coming back down hard. But you pull them out on the 1 year. All of these airlines really got clapped. This was just UAL, but you could even see Boeing. They kind of look the same. Boeing maybe a little bit better. However, I'm sure some of that big pop we saw the other day could have just been by some of these travel and hospitality stocks shooting up. So I think the real perspective in what these companies are going to do in their performance, I think it will directly reflect kind of how Wall Street is viewing everything. So those were the main things. As far as everything else, it was understanding how we have continued to rotate. So I thought today was going to be a little bit more important. We didn't see as much volume. It came back a little bit, but even the bonds were a little bit more timid. But to understand kind of the timeline, and this is why these next few weeks are going to be very important, especially coming into the holidays and even the end of the year, and now all this stuff we're looking at. But Monday, we rotated out of growth, momentum, tech, went into the value and small caps. That continued on Tuesday. That was one of the biggest growth value rotations that's ever happened in 2 days in history. Then yesterday, it stalled out. Then it stalled out Wednesday. And then today now, it stalled out as well too, but it didn't reverse. So it kind of did on Wednesday a little bit, but a lot of the names held up. Now, the airlines kind of came back to normal, but at some of these other value stocks, they held up. So it's not as if you saw this rotation and then it backtracked. So that's what we're watching for here to see, does this continue or does it kind of chill out? And then does this allow the market to kind of move in synchrony? So that's what we're going to be watching for tomorrow and to close out the week. We want to see if that's going to give us any more clues, go for any frogs and see what happens, or if there's any breaking news. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, with this theory in mind, I'm going to be looking at travel, United Airlines, any of the airlines, or the Expedia puts. Remember, I have that small one for January. So again, I think this is going to take time. I don't think I'm going to get this instantly. I'm giving you guys the game plan here. I'm saying that UAL or any of these airlines will probably be that canary in the coal mine and show us. But the key with this type of play is I think even if it is going to lead to a broader play, I don't really need to hit this one. I'm good with a little bit of exposure. But the idea is I think if the airlines will pop or drop before a bigger move that kind of spreads happens. So I will be looking at these plays. Unfortunately, they kind of had that pop and then came down really quick. So I'm sure the spreads are going to be huge. I'm still in that Expedia put, and I believe that's down. So just going to be holding those, but I'm definitely putting those plays on my radar. I really like those. And then the next play is going to be Disney continuation. I think it is going to be pretty light. I don't know if it's going to actually be a big move, but they had earnings. They did good. They lost a lot of their operating income from the parks closing, but they did really good on the Disney Plus ads. So I like that. I think it's going to be pretty decent. I'm looking at them. We have those plays, but I think those plays are probably going to depreciate. We will see, but I'm going to watch for them with a continuation. Again, Disney can surprise at times, but I like that earnings play and I like them. I've been very bullish on them. But then I'm also going to be looking at banks, and now that is going to be dependent on the stimulus, kind of tying this into a broader thesis. But as some of these talks play and then it affects rates or even odds of government intervention and other stuff, if the dollar and things start to move, I think the banks are going to be moving because they have been moving big, and they just stuck out today. Early in the morning, they really stuck out. When the market was green, they were really red, and then eventually market still closed red, and they closed even redder. So I like that. I think they're kind of responsive to what's going on, so I'm going to keep my eye on there. And then finally, Zoom, and then the work from home trade reflation, but I want it to hold. So what I'm worried about is that it kind of looked like that work from home trade has kind of lost some of that trend. We've been talking about it. Even the premiums are already expensive yesterday. They're even more expensive. So the question is it going to look something like this where it keeps continuing up and it goes up there, or is it going to kind of have this little pop, but then if it doesn't continue and hold the same strength, it might start to look like a biotech. That's why I think Zoom is going to be interesting. It is really just trading like a biotech at this point. So I like it. I think there's going to be opportunity. The question is just how much are you willing to pay for it? So I've been watching it all week, have not made a play yet, but I like it. So as far as everything else, those are going to be the main plays. Even the other plays that were in, those Twitters pretty much held value. Again, those were the Disneys from yesterday. Our Beyond play, we didn't take profits on those, so we're down on those now. Even a lot of the HDs, anything we've scaled in on, we haven't really been able to get gains on. Again, the long term has been doing good, but this has been one move. You got some profits, but then as it stalled out the last few days, it really killed some of the IV. So it all depends on when we entered in position. So I'm even waiting too. People have even asked about credit spreads and all that. I'm still waiting a little bit here, and that's why, some of these indicators like like the airlines and all that could show us. So watch out for that. As far as everything else, I'm going to be watching the tech companies. Again, I've been watching them. I think these are going to be probably our crazy Friday plays if they start to break out. They've been a little bit more calm, so watch them. Watch NVIDIA. They had news. Amazon is switching the Alexa chips from NVIDIA, so it could have a small effect, but even then, they're trading at a crazy range in general. And then the chip makers the other day, they were all down, but watch them. I like those. HD was the best performer this morning, and you could kind of see it. I mean, the size of these candles on HD lately have just been crazy, so you're seeing some more volatility in there. I think this is a really good name when it comes to value rotation, all that, so I want to see if they're going to pretty much make it or break it here. I like them, but we are still down on those. Expedia, like I said, Zoom, Banks, JP Morgan, Snapchat, they went up today. They went up a lot. I mean, they closed up 5%. They were up like 7 or 8% at one point because they had news about like some e-commerce stuff that they're doing with like augmented reality and some different stuff. So they announced a bunch of cool things. I think they got to upgrade on there, but watch them. Disney, like we said, then AMAT, they had positive earnings. They killed it, along with Cisco as well too. I don't know why I have Net Element up. They were just a stock we had today. And then Amazon, but I'm going to be watching Amazon, Facebook, like I said. They've just been trading interesting. And then Cisco, they had a really killer earnings. This one doesn't move a lot. It might be a good continuation in a frog for tomorrow, so we'll see, but I will keep my eye on there. And then finally, UUP, GLD, TLT, they haven't moved much, even the dollar, and it just looks like we are kind of waiting for something, and I think it does make sense with everything. I was expecting a little bit more movement today. You saw how TLT kind of shot up there, so we want to see if that leads anything, but the real question is going to be if it holds and how it holds and how everything else plays out. So there is that, and then finally, I will give you one more little end of the day lesson here. I think a lot of people asked about this. We have videos on this, so hopefully you've made it this far, but we need to talk about rolling over. Here's the DraftKings play, the notorious play. This is down 21,000. We've literally lost $20,000 on this play. You guys remember, this account was at 140, so literally most of the losses, even with the stocks, EEM, anything else, we got even profits on Uber. This is all from this play. So I have that other naked put, but now the question is, what are we going to do? DraftKings has earnings tomorrow, so this is the whole concept of rolling over. You can see me. I was looking up COVID deaths too. Isn't that funny? But the idea with this play tomorrow, if they beat on earnings and they go up, it might be able to save us depending on what happens. But if I keep going down, I'll have a few days. Essentially, if they do bad on earnings, it's probably going to drop. I'll be in the money on both of these, which means it's a total loss. So the idea would be to close this play. So if you were going to roll it over, essentially, I'm on the option chain now, but I could go back on here and just simply press close through here, close all 18 contracts, spend the money, and then reopen the same play, or you could even do it all in one transaction, but that is what rolling over the play is. But the idea is now to get back this money. So if this is 21,420, if I closed out the trade at that price, so let's say we did it hypothetically right now, the idea is I would have to buy this back at 21,420, and then we want to roll it over for more time. So January 15 put, we had the 55 was the original one we sold. We'd sell that, and then again, depending on where the stock moves, but even if we did it now, bought those, we get a total of 1025. We have 18 contracts. I would get back 18,450. So in this case now, you could see that I could open up the play again and give me till January, but now at this time, if I'm getting back, if I have to close it at 21,000, I'm only getting back 18,000. Even if I make my money back, I still am booking $3,000 of that loss. So this is round 3 now of rolling over. You're seeing what's going to happen. I'll either have to widen and take more risk, or hopefully if the stock drops, I could get more money back from it. But now in this situation, when it comes time to roll over, I'm actually not able to get as much money. So another thing I could also do would be to go get more time. We could maybe see if we could push it back to February. There's the 55, and then we buy these. That one's still giving us about 1035. It's going to be around the same price, getting 18,600. So we could even try one more. We'll see if it has more time, but it's kind of clear here. Maybe we go October. I don't know if you guys would want to be stuck with this play till then, but again, whatever you're getting in premium here, you're pretty much paying it for the side you're buying on. So you get that again, same credit of $10.30. So you're seeing we were able to roll it over the first time for more money or the same amount, but in this case now, to do the exact same play, I would have to take a $3,000 loss. So this time, it's going to pretty much cost me $3,000, and you could see, you could keep rolling it over and over, but eventually you will probably burn out and get clapped. So that is what we're going to have to decide after tomorrow's tomorrow's earnings. But that is a little mini tutorial on rolling over. Hopefully it helps. I hope you guys are ready for tomorrow. I hope you bring a friend and Colte, and I hope you know you're blessed. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to think about things. Just think. Use your brain, baby. Stay focused. Stay blessed. Be there and be in the moment, baby. But the call loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.